Hello students, in today's video we are going to study pathway of optic nerves and we will also understand the concept of optic chiasma. So look at this figure. Now this figure describes the optic pathway. Now these are the two eyes and these are the two optic nerves. Now these optic nerves, they emerge from the retina of the eye and they carry the nerve impulses from the eye to the visual area of the cerebrum. So as you can see here, these optic nerves, they carry the nerve impulses from the eyes to the visual area of the cerebrum. Now in the cerebrum, images from both the eyes are integrated so that we see a single 3D image. Now this pathway of the optic nerve from the retina of the eye to the visual area of the cerebrum is known as the optic pathway. Now in order to understand this optic pathway, let's quickly review mechanism of sight and how optic nerve helps us to see. Now look at this figure. This explains the mechanism of sight. So this is the light. Now light reflected from an object enters the eye. So first of all, this light, it falls on the cornea. Now pupil and the iris, they regulate the amount of light that enters the eye. So this light falls on the cornea. Then the light passes through the pupil and it falls on the lens. Now the lens focuses this light from the object onto the retina. Now photosensitive cells, that is the rods and cones of retina, convert these light rays into nerve impulses. Now these nerve impulses are collected by the nerve fibers of the retina, and all the nerve fibers of the retina, they converge to form the optic nerve. So as you can see here, this is the optic nerve. Now this optic nerve carries these impulses to the visual area of the brain and thus we are able to see. Now as you can see here, this optic nerve, it emerges from the retina and it reaches the visual area of the brain or the cerebrum. Now this pathway of the optic nerve, as discussed earlier, is known as the optic pathway. Now as you can see here, structurally retina can be divided into two types. Now this is the nasal retina. Now retina on the nasal side is termed as a nasal retina and retina on the temporal side is termed as the temporal retina. Now the point at which this optic nerve leaves the eye is known as the optic disc or the blind spot. Now one optic nerve emerges from the right eye and other optic nerve emerges from the left eye. Now these optic nerves, as they emerge from the eye, as they emerge from the retina, they move towards the visual area of the cerebrum. Now look at each eye. Now the nerve fibers from the nasal side, shown here in the red color, and nerve fibers from the temporal side, shown here in the blue color, together they form the optic nerve. Now further, as you can see here, nerve fibers of the optic nerve from the nasal side of each retina, shown here in the red color, they cross over to the opposite side. So from here they go over here, and from here these nerve fibers, they go here. So on the contrary, nerve fibers from the temporal side of the retina, they do not cross and they continue to move in the same side. So as you can see here, this crossing over of the nerves from the nasal side of the retina forms the optic chiasma. So optic chiasma is the part of brain where optic nerve fibers from the nasal side of the retina cross over. Now, because of this crossing over of the nerve fibers, each of these optic nerve pathways carry information from both the eyes, that is the right eye as well as the left eye, to the visual area of the cerebrum. Now, this crossing over or optic chiasm gives us binocular or the 3D vision with both the eyes, and therefore we see the three-dimensional view of every object, and we could easily judge the speed and distance. Now, this pathway, this is the optic chiasm, and this pathway of the optic nerves posterior to optic chiasma towards the brain is known as the optic tract. So, these are the optic tracts. Now, this optic tract then synapses with the nerve bodies of lateral geniculate bodies of the thalamus, and this is how the information from both the eyes, this eye as well as this eye, information from both the eyes moves towards the brain. Now, from here, from this lateral geniculate bodies, from this synapse, from here the nerve fibers, they proceed as optic radiations. So, these optic radiations, they finally reach the visual area of the cerebral cortex, which is present in the occipital lobe of the cerebrum. Now, images from both the eyes or information from both the eyes is integrated in the cerebrum, so that only one three-dimensional image is perceived and we are able to see. So, this pathway of optic nerves from eye to the brain is known as the optic pathway, and optic chiasma is the crossing over of the nerve fibers from both the eyes. Now, this optic chiasma gives us binocular vision, and therefore we are able to see the three-dimensional view of each object. So, this is all about the pathway of optic nerves and optic chiasma. If you find the video useful, kindly like, subscribe and share this video. Thanks for watching this video.